beer. That was actually a good idea. Hold on.
Yeah, just so you know, the session is going to be recorded. But of course, I can always remove the parts that you know you guys don't like I did in the past with my buddy here, Mr. Kelly.
What did I say that was controversial? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. All I know is that it's been taken off, so I'm filtering.
I probably was saying like go ahead, and you were like no, it should be taken off. Unless I'm reinventing history, but I tend not to care.
I can tell you about one in private, but I'm not going to
Is it recording right now?
It is.
Oh well then. All right.
Need to be cautious.
Cheers. Or as we say in Norwegian, skål.
Skål. Hold on.
Sláinte.
Still dripping.
Let's see. Kathy is fighting with her camera, I think.
Fighting with my camera, but I think you can hear me, can't you?
Yeah.
You're hearable. You're recognized.
I'll just disconnect and then connect again to try to get my camera working.
No problem.
So now I should do this. Oh wait, hold on there.
So how much of a suicide? Oh, go ahead.
I might eventually switch to Google Meet because I think it's much easier to share stuff with it, and it's less demanding for my poor computer.
Depending on you're looking like 5, 4, 6, 7 screens on 3 different computers. I know that's confusing.
Well, I only share one, so yeah. Actually, let me just go back home, and we will.
There you go.
This.
Hello, Kathy.
Hey.
Hi, there.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Yeah, I'm going to present something to you guys today. Let me just try to figure out where to put it. There you go. Whoops. Okay, no, that's not good.
Oh no, my dog found the beeping toy.
Okay, that's fine. Now,
I mean, although it's recorded, Eric, I think you can swear. You don't have to say beeping.
Thanks.
Okay.
So, Johnny, I don't believe you have met Kathy, but here she is. She's
Hello, Kathy.
Yeah. She's the new apprentice, like that, from Norway in governance on Cardano.
Oh man, it's a quagmire.
Yeah.
it's a lot.
I was tricked. To my defense, I was tricked.
Yeah.
I know Ken Eric from way back, and I went on a holiday to visit him, and then I was trapped.
Oh, I think I've heard this story somewhere. That you've turned up back in Ken Eric's life. Yes.
I don't know who I feel more sorry for, actually. You or him?
Okay. So Kinetic is used to this presentation. You've seen it before. It's going to be shorter this time because we will skip the assessing of the constitutionality part. But I believe that Johnny Kelly is probably going to like it. Let's hope.
I have high standards.
So welcome to the Constitutional Committee Credential Competency Workshop. where we will learn the role and cryptographic duties of the Constitutional Committee simplified. I'm wondering if I should wear the wig and do the.
I was thinking the same.
I've seen pictures of that.
Well, actually, maybe. Oh, wait, you know what? Well, no, it's. I don't know. Which one? Do you think I should do the what if instead? That could be funny. Since you saw this one, no, you saw the what if too. You saw them all, Ken Eric. You're just like too there.
No. Go as schedules. Don't change anything. I will
Okay.
be right here, and I'm gonna do some
All right.
API mapping while you guys are cooking. So yeah. Mhm.
Let's get started. So, about me, I'm Canadian, so I tend to apologize a lot, and I probably will during this presentation. I'm sorry. And I will show you as little code as possible for this one. The goal is to simplify things so everyone can understand, and also governance is fun. Period. That's it. No questions are stupid questions. There are only stupid answers, and I have a share of stupid answers. I'm sorry. If you have any questions, just yell my name or raise your concern or anything. Just go ahead and interrupt me if you have a question. Okay?
I have no problem interrupting people, Mike.
It's called to that. All right. Let's get started. So we have the three governance bodies, as you may know, that I explained to some of you guys earlier. We have the Constitutional Committee, the DREPs, and the SPOs. But this presentation is mainly about the Constitutional Committee, which only role is to assess the constitutionality of governance actions according to the Constitutional Committee, the Constitution text. I'm sorry. We of course have the DREPs as well, who who votes according to their own informed judgment and are not bound to follow the opinions or instructions of other, unless that's what they want to, when it's about their delegators, for example. And the SPOs are the backbones of the network. Their vote often prioritize security, stability, and they play a key role in the election or removal of the Constitutional Committee members. The Constitutional Committee. So, like I said, it is clearly stated in the SIP 1694, but also in our Constitution. Though it cannot be enforced on chain, the Constitutional Committee is only supposed to vote on the constitutionality of governance actions. So, meaning that if I personally don't like a governance action, uh, that's not a, that's not a reason to vote against it. Like it's not enough to vote against it if I'm sitting in the Constitutional Committee. I have to rely on my Constitution. That's pretty clear, right? You guys know that. Which governance action can we vote on? So there's a total of 7 governance actions, as I mentioned to Cathy last time, if I remember well. And we can only vote on 5 out of those 7 governance actions. So we can vote on new constitution or guardrail script. We can vote on the hard fork initiation, the protocol parameter change, the treasury withdrawals, and some info actions that are not that are binding or binded to something that is going to occur on chain. For example, I don't think we should vote on if you like or not pineapples on pizza. And yeah, so just making sure to mention that the only 2 governance sections that we're not supposed to vote on are the update committee and the motion of no confidence. Is that okay for you guys?
Yeah. So you can try to vote on
Well, you could.
update committee and proposal, but it will not go through.
No, it's just not going to happen. If I'm sitting as a CC member, I will not be able to vote on the Credential Committee governance action. My vote just won't go through. You cannot technically vote.
Will you get the transaction fail?
No, it's going to get blocked. You cannot.
For context, I have dropped in the chat both a link to the current ratified constitutional text of Cardano and the historical voting outcome from gov.tools of what level of pass it had, just for context and awareness of the constitutional text itself.
Nice. Historical voting outcome on current ratified constitution. That's pretty good. Nice. Thank you, Johnny. Okay, next. Do you guys still see the slides, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Awesome. The guardrail script. That's a tricky one. When you submit a governance action, the guardrail script checks whether the submitted values complies with the constitution guardrails. So for every protocol parameter values, there is a maximum value and there's a minimum and a maximum value. So if the value that you're attempting to change, or the protocol parameter value that you're attempting to change, is within those two maximum and minimum values, then it will go through. And if it goes through, then it gets on chain, and the DREPs and SPOs and also the CC are allowed to vote on it, depending on which protocol parameter it is. That being said, the reason why we need a human guardrail, which is the CC, so I like to call it the human guardrail, is because you cannot enforce everything by code is law. There are some rules in the Constitution that can only be enforced by a human. For example, if your value change is more than 10%, and your Constitution says that it cannot be changed by more than 10%. This is something you cannot enforce at the ledger level. So this would be something that a Constitutional Committee would stop on chain by voting against it, if that was the case. I don't have much examples, but that's the actual role of the CC. Not necessarily to veto everything, and we don't necessarily also have to nitpick every single thing on the Constitution. If the intent is good, and if most of the rules are respected and it seems fine, most of us will probably vote constitutional, I think.
If
But
you want to see historical outcomes, you can browse around that outcome section that was already linked to, and see whether or not things were deemed unconstitutional or constitutional during the voting process.
yes, this is something everyone can access from the rationale of the votes of each CC votes on chain as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Johnny, but I think it wasn't required for DREPs and SPOs to provide a rationale, but I think it is for CC members.
In the constitutional text, I'm not
No.
sure.
No, from the ledger implementation. The example I'm going to give you is you cannot submit a governance action without rationale, but I believe I'm going to have to check this out.
I think you can, because I think it was done with a note at one stage where someone said they'd provide rationale later for their vote, if I remember, but maybe that changed.
Yeah, well, they provided a rationale text saying that they would provide a rationale.
Yeah,
later,
a placeholder
right?
text. Well, then it
Yes,
might be a hard requirement on submission then.
I think it is, but yeah, technicalities. But anyway.
I'm sorry, I don't really understand role of the guardrail script. Can you take? I fell off. Could you
Okay.
take us through that again?
Okay. What you mean the timeline itself?
Yeah, no, the guardrail script itself.
What
What role does
what
the
its
guardrail?
function is, what
Okay.
Yeah,
it does.
what's the function? What's
Yes.
the
S-
I can
functionality
feel
of the
that if you
guardrail?
like.
Yeah. So basically, like, yeah. Let me try it, and if that doesn't work, you can go ahead. So let's say you want to change the. Let's go with a an easy protocol parameter value. So the governance action deposit, right? I told you that I think before. So right now it's 100,000 ADA. So you need that deposit to submit a governance action. So if I wanted to change that value of that protocol parameter, let's say I want to submit 50,000. Okay, I need to run the guardrail script with my transaction, and the guardrail script will check the value that I propose against the minimum and the maximum value that is authorized within the Constitution. So the minimum value is 1 and the maximum value
Yeah.
is 10 million, I think.
This is why I provided the context link at the beginning, because the guardrail script is derived from the guardrail section of the constitutional text that was ratified. So you
Yes.
can see the rules of the guardrail script in that appendix. So if you go to if you open up the actual constitution and scroll down, you'll find an appendix that's specific to guardrails. Then that's automated on chain with a script, so that whenever someone submits a governance action, they have to include that script so that it does bouncer activity, essentially making sure that what you've proposed is in line with the constitutional guardrails that appear in the text. And if it's too low or too high, as Mike has just said, it'll just bounce it back and say this is not a valid proposal because it does not match the guardrails of the Constitution. And they can be changed by people suggesting an update to the Constitution.
Yep. And to its guardrail script as well. Because if we go deeper into the
they have to be done in tandem. If you update the wording of the constitutional guardrails, you have to also update the script to match that new wording at the same submission. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it. Yeah. Thank you,
all right.
both of you.
So again, going to the timeline, this is enforced as soon as you submit it on chain. So if your value goes over the maximum, for example, I try to change it to 15 million, the guardrail script will stop me as soon as I try to submit my transaction, and nobody on chain will see it ever. It won't be recorded anywhere. It will just do an error. My node, or the node that I use to submit it, will throw me an error saying, no, can't run this script. There's an error because my value is going beyond the maximum value of the guardrail script. And if it's fine, if the value is correct, then it will get on chain and it will be now for the DREPs, SPOs, and the CC to vote on it.
And a piece of work I once did, which I've also linked in the chat, is converting the sort of verbose language of the Constitution into a cheat sheet, a spreadsheet. There's a link, bit.ly/Cardano guardrails. And this is sort of just converting all of that text into look up a specific parameter, see what the rules are on that parameter and what restrictions apply, minimums, maximums, whether or not there needs to be a 3-month announcement period, things like that. But all of that is from the appendix. So you can look at the original, and I'll update it if the Constitution updates in the future. But yeah, and then there's additional tabs at the bottom which go into more generic principles beyond just the parameters. I hope that helps as a handy dandy reference material.
It's a pretty nice cheat sheet right there. Actually, you should probably share that again on X.
Yeah, new constitutional committee and all that. Maybe it's a good idea. I need to add a note to say on every single one of the parameters that a reversion plan needs to exist, because that was a big controversy back in the day.
It still is, in my personal opinion, but let's not go there. There's only one reversion plan. It's either you submit a governance action with the former value, or you Cardano Classic the chain.
Well,
This
I
is
mean, there are rules of engagement around changing things. It's interesting, but yeah, I'll stop interrupting.
let's
I am well versed in it, but you should continue.
let's move on. CC credential types. So when you sit as a CC member, you can have three types of credentials. So it's either individual, native script, or Pluto-script credential. I'm going to explain three of them real quick. So individual, it's two key pairs. So you have a cold key pair and you have hot key pairs. Cold key pairs is your it's pretty much your seat as the control committee, and the hot key pairs have the authority to vote on your behalf. And native scripts, it's literally just a simple multi-signature script that can do both. And the Plutus V3 script is an advanced credential manager tool that I will explain a little later. So now we have the concept of cold environment versus hot environment. Are you used to that? I'm pretty sure you probably are, right? Yeah, absolutely. So a cold environment is something that doesn't interact with internet, that you need to most of the time physically access in order to do things like signing transactions, holding your cryptographic keys and stuff like that. And the hot environment could be your phone, your laptop, anything that's connected to internet. Okay, so this is why we also call it the air gap environment, because most of the time you need to have physical access to it. So now we're at the cold credentials and hot credentials. The cold credentials, they live and they are generated from your cold environment. And whoever controls this key pair effectively hold the seat of a CC member. And the hot credentials could also be generated from the cold environment. But most of the time, and the people that I know usually use it on a hot environment because it's safe enough to use them, and if they ever lose them, they can always regenerate new ones and reauthorize them. But I will get there very soon. So the hot credentials, this key pair hold the voting rights of a control committee members. They are the keys that you use to vote. So if we get back to the cold and hot keys, the cold keys are only used to authorize the hot keys that you're going to use to vote. So if you ever lose them, you can always just generate a new key pair and reauthorize them again with those cold keys. So if I go here in a step-by-step, the first step will be to generate the cold keys. Then you transfer the key hash of the verification key to your hot environment, where you will include it into a transaction that contains an update committee governance action in order to get on the CC. So it's pretty much to be added to the ledger state as an official control committee member. You need to provide your verification key hash of your cold credentials on chain inside a governance actions to elect yourself as a CC member. And the SPOs and the DREPs will vote on that governance actions in order to either elect you or reject you.
I believe there's some administrative tasks of the currently newly elected Constitutional Committee right now in regards to bringing their credentials on chain properly. Or am I wrong?
Yes, you are correct. So we provide a witness file for the different roles, and then we're gonna mint the NFT. Is that what you had in mind, Johnny?
Oh, I'm not there yet.
Oh, sorry.
I jumped ahead. I do apologize.
Yes. Sorry, Kathy.
No, what I'm explaining now is just for an individual. So I, Mike Hornan,
Just
by myself.
Put your finger in the air.
No, that's fine. That's
Sorry.
fine. Mike Hornan, by myself. I want to be a CC member and I want to represent myself in the CC. This is what I would do. Individual. I would generate a cold key pair. I would take the hash of my verification key and I will provide it into an update committee governance actions in order to be elected as an official CC member within the ledger state or within the governance state of the ledger. When this update committee governance action is done, and if I get elected, so if this governance action gets ratified and enacted, and that now my official credentials are part of the governance state, I am an officially a CC member. Now I will need to generate my hotkey pairs that I will use to vote. So I can either generate them from the hot environment or I can generate them from the cold environment as well. Some people wants to do that, but it would be a good idea to generate it from a different cold environment than the one you use for your key pair, your cold key pairs, because it would kind of break the principles of security.
And if you want to see how it looks like, Kathy, in the chat you will see it's actually a key hash from an individual.
Yes.
Okay.
Ken Eric has
that's
dropped it in
That's the
chat.
cold key hash or the hot one? The one you put in the chat.
It could be a hot or a cold one. They are the same type of keys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason why
In this specific example, Ken Eric, have you dropped the hash of the cold verification key or the hot?
It's the cold credential for Phil that you actually see here.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm not entirely right because
I had to call Quasar and ask for them, but here they are. No, just kidding.
yeah, the cold credential derivation path is 4 and the hot credential derivation path is 5. And yeah, it's they're slightly different. They don't use the same derivation path, but that's for individuals only.
And Phil is notably an individual, and that's why he was used as the example.
Yes. That's fine. Hopefully it's his cold key hash. You could probably share also his hot key hash if you see them from the you can query the committee state. And if you look at member authorized, you will get their also their hot key hash. But
Can we do that yet, or we have to wait for the cooldown and enactment?
no, you have to wait for him to authorize it. That's true. So he has to be on the CC first to authorize it. This is exactly what the presentation is showing, actually. So you need once you're elected, like now. So normally Phil would have to generate his hotkey pairs, his hotkey pair either from the cold or the hot environment.
Yeah. So to give Katya a little bit of context here, so this is actually a real life scenario. We had an election. It happened actually off chain, and then all the key hashes were put forward in an update committee. And then D-reps and state cooperators, they were voting like hell for 6 epochs. And then now the ledger read off the state of the blockchain and decided, yes, the state cooperators have needed a threshold, the D-reps threshold have been reached, and the blockchain goes into a state that we called ratified.
Yeah.
And then in this period, we have to wait one more epoch, and then it gets enacted. And then keys like you see here from the code will be able to be used for voting as a Cardano constitution member.
Okay.
Yep.
How long is an epoch?
5 days.
5 days. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
so
waiting for Johnny to reply with slots and blocks here, but okay, never mind.
with slots, what?
So one epoch consists of a number of
Oh
slots
dear.
and blocks,
So
and I forgot the number, but
there's a
Four-
slot. There's
400
one.
430
420.
432,000 slots second.
So
there we go.
okay,
432,000
every
second.
slot in an epoch is 1 second. A block on average is produced every 20 seconds. It doesn't always work out that way, but it should average out to every 20 seconds for a block. So the number of blocks is different than the number of slots. But again, the slots will always be consistent because there's always that many seconds in a 5-day period. But the block count will be higher or lower. Well, never higher. It'll be lower or exactly the 20 seconds per block. Anyway, sorry. But then also, because we've just ratified a constitutional committee, I have also provided a link to the ratified outcome on AdaStat this time, which is a better resource because it's more accurate and provides more detail. So yeah, you can see the voting outcome of the just elected and ratified constitutional committee in the most recent link.
Okay.
We keep derailing this presentation, poor Mike. Okay, please continue.
Yeah, but it's I'm trying to link it to real world activities, considering theory versus reality, right? Or in tandem with. But yes, I apologize for continuing to interrupt.
It's fine. It's totally fine. I like it.
This is governance.
Thank
We're
you,
having
John.
fun. This is the good part about governance.
Governance is fun. That's what it is. So once you get elected, you need to generate your hotkey pairs, either from the cold or the hot environment, and include into a transaction an authorization certificate where you will mention the cold key hash and the hot key hash. And then you have to send that authorization certificate and transaction body file to your cold environment in order to sign it with your cold credentials. And then you send it back to you send the final transaction back to the hot environment and submit it on chain. And this will authorize the hot credentials to be used to vote. So you need to provide your cold key signatures to prove that the owner of those hot credentials are the same owner than the cold credentials. Because the ledger doesn't care about our opinions. It only cares about facts. Is that okay for now? Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Now we have a bad guy there. And the bad guy, of course, could potentially access to your hot credentials and your hot environment if they live on a computer that's connected to internet. So let's say you have hot credentials with a very poor password, encrypted with a like 1234 password, the same that I use for my traveling briefcase. You could potentially lose your keys. But normally, that bad actor or that bad person doesn't have access to your cold credentials because they live on an isolated cold environment that's isolated from internet and that can only be accessed physically. So in this example, we have the bad guy who steals your signing key of your hot credentials. So he now owns the right to vote on your behalf. So what can you do if that happens? You can generate a brand new pair of CC hotkeys, and you just simply have to reauthorize them. So what you can do, you redo an authorization certificate, you include it into a transaction body file that you send physically to your cold environment in order to sign it with your cold keys, your cold credentials, and once it's signed, you send that transaction back to your hot environment and you submit it. So now your new keys, your new hot credentials will be the one that you use to vote, and the former one that has been compromised are invalid. So the person who took those keys from you, they don't hold anything anymore. But you have to know that it also invalidates every single vote you've done with those former keys. So if you voted on a governance actions, on a governance action, you're gonna have to do it again with the new key pairs. That's important. Do you have any questions on that?
No, it's good. Yeah, thank you.
All right, cool. Oh well, so in the scenario, if you ever lose your cold credentials, if a bad actor finds a way into your cold environment and steals them from you, well then, yeah.
Oh, she's not looking. Look up.
Yes,
Oh, it's Dr.
you're
Who.
totally screwed.
If you lose that cold key, you're
Okay, so just
SOL.
Yes.
hold on to the cold key for dear life. That's the message. I get it.
Protect them. Protect them.
Luckily, I'm a woman. That'll be easy for me.
So if you ever have compromised cold credentials, you will have to disclose it. You must notify the community because they will have to remove you from the committee state. So that implies doing a new update committee governance action in order to remove your credentials from the ledger state, because it would be dangerous to keep them there because they have been compromised. And of course, it comes with severe reputation damage, election consequence as well. You will most likely not be reelected. Loss of voting power. So if you end up being a D-rep, nobody will delegate to you because you're unreliable. Network-wide consequence. The compromised keys can impact protocol integrity or multi-sig security. Team fallout. If you're inside a group that has a native script, that's not going to help the rest of your group. So it's mostly reputation damage. Operational overhead recovery. If you use the Credential Manager, you can rotate those keys. That's a very cool feature from it that you can do, but it involves work and time. It is not an easy thing to do, but you can do it. If the rest of your consortium, or if you have more than the majority of the keys required to rotate them. I will show you that later. And of course, my favorite, historical record. Blockchains are permanent ledgers. Your failure will be recorded forever. It happens before. It happened before to one of our funding entities, which shall not be named.
It starts with an E.
I cannot affirm or deny that it starts with an E. But
It starts with an E.
no.
Idano Foundation. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, guys, I'm gonna have to cut some part of my video again. You guys.
Play nice. Play nice.
So protect your cold environment. Yeah, I'm gonna just like go through them really quickly. Encrypt your cold storage, encrypt your storage pretty much, so that if somebody physically steal it, they won't have access to it. Entropy, when you generate your keys, use entropy like human-based entropy, mouse movement, keyboard inputs, microphone noise. There's our
Mike, sorry to interrupt, but your audio on my side keeps dropping out. Does that happen to anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
so your presentation is getting cut up by silence during your speech.
Oh shoot.
The audio glitches.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm
you know what?
I'm hoping that's a worthwhile interruption this time.
No, I'll check with the video, but that's probably one of the last time I'm doing this on Discord. I think Google Meet's going to be much more popular, and I'm having like a very, very good results with that. So I'm totally going
Lumalink.
to, yeah, I'm going to switch to that probably next time. I'll let everyone know.
The other good thing about Google Meets is people who are impulsive and interacting like me can use emojis and just say,
Yes.
without interrupting in voice, they can just be like happy face, sad face.
That is true. That is true. All right. So yeah, pretty much remove all networks, driver, kernels, everything that makes your code environment knows that there's a network somewhere. Make access a nightmare, obscure your access pattern, use nested encryption, chain password, hidden volumes, and my favorite, decoy partitions. That's pretty cool to use, especially if you're physically in danger. I'm not hoping for that for anyone, but if it happens, at least the bad actor has something to access, which would potentially makes him believe that he holds now your keys, so he would leave you alone. Um, implement a ceremonial scheme, so that require trust. It's not necessarily everyone who wants that, but it will require multiple person ceremony in order to reconstruct the environments or the keys, most likely the cold keys. So you can do that in order to protect your credentials. Native script. So native script is used when you want to be a CC member as an organization, a group, or a consortium. So you and your friends can have your own credentials that are going to be part of a script. So you can either have a cold credential script and just a key pair for the hot credentials, or you could do the opposite. You can have a single key pair as a cold credential because you're the boss of the company and you have some employees who's going to vote on your behalf, or the most favorite, both. This is what the Cardano Foundation was using as an ICC member. they use native script. So I have no idea what their threshold was because you can select and you can set the threshold within those scripts. So you can have either 3 out of 5 signatures in order to vote or to do something. So for the cold credentials, you could have 3. You could require 3 signatures in order to authorize a hot credential. And on the hot credential side, you could have 3, 4, whatever numbers you want signatures in order to cast a vote on chain. You can do that with native script. And it's pretty simple to build. It's also pretty useful. So as you can see, these are the scripts. So as you can see, this one requires 2 signatures, and there are 3 key hash that has been mentioned in the script. So in order to do something with the cold credentials in that script, you would need 2 out of 3 signatures. So these are pretty simple scripts to build that anybody can use if you want to build a group or consortium that would represent one consure committee vote, only one vote. It's also pretty useful if somebody steals one of your hot credentials keys, for example, you could leave it as it is. Because if, for example, you need 3 out of 5 signatures and somebody loses theirs, then you can always leave it as it is. It's still gonna work, right? But unfortunately for that person who lost their credential, they won't be able to do anything. Or you could build a new script. You could ask that person to generate new keys, and then you rebuild a new script out of that new keys with the former keys that everyone still have, which would generate a new script hash that you will then authorize with your cold credential script that hasn't been affected. And now, after that, you will be able to use the script to vote. It's a solution. Or you could just leave it as it is.
Question. What scenarios would you use the native script type credential to? In what type of scenarios in Cardano would you use this type of script?
If you look in the chat, you can see a screenshot that was taken from the voting outcomes. There are a number of constitutional committee members that have just been ratified and put in place that are councils. And the councils are made up of multiple members that then have a threshold to meet when they vote, but they only get one vote on chain as that committee member. So what Mike has just taken you through is the context for how multiple people can be behind a single credential.
Yes.
And vote as that single entity. So there are only, I think, 2 individual people at the moment in the constitutional committee, and the rest are councils made up of multiple members.
Okay, so this is not only for constitutional members, but for DREPs and other types as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do the same thing with DREP credentials. You can have multiple people behind a single DREP and then have published charter and, how things are going to do in your decision-making process. And
yeah. We have some
so you can have a political party on chain, essentially, I guess.
Yeah,
this is actually how the credential is working when Keneric is a DREP. This is how the credential is working when he gets the votes of someone else.
Oh, you're you're
part of one way to put up the rep, let's say, account, to put it like that, to vote with.
Okay.
When you say when he gets the votes of someone else, do you mean people delegating to him?
Yeah.
Delegation is different. Delegation has its own specific delegation certificate where someone signs a transaction to say that they're putting their voting power behind that DREP. It's built in. It's not a separate script. It's built into the protocol. So you can just register and you can change that at any time. So you can move away from your supporting Keneric if he does something nefarious that you disagree with. You can go and update your certificate to move your voting power to someone else, but that's all built in protocol, not script.
Yes, they don't have to sign the voting transaction for Keneric. So the difference is for a script DREP, in order to vote, you will need each signatures from your own consortium in order to be able to cast that vote that will represent only one voice. But as a DREP, you get your power from the people who delegates to you. But you could be a group representing one DREP credential, and everyone else would delegate to that credential. But in order to vote, that DREP would need more than one signatures from their group or consortium.
This is a way to mitigate for some people's concerns that an individual can't know everything, right? So if they have multiple people behind a single DREP, then they know that there's an actual discussion going on about how to vote on any given proposal based on various levels of expertise within that group.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So there's a flaw about this. And even though on the hot credential side, it's fine, it's not too bad if you lose a signing key somewhere. If somebody loses their key, you can either leave it like that and the compromise key won't do nothing because you have a threshold signatures. You have a threshold for your signature, or you could simply generate new ones, right? And reauthorize them with the cold credential. That being said, if the same scenario happens for the cold credential, the problem is you will not be able to recreate a new script, because if you do, you will get a different script hash from it. And if you have a different script hash, then the ledger will not know that you are part of the construct committee, because what has been included into the ledger is this script hash, which represent your consortium. So what people elected is this hash, right? So if you lose a credential that's within the script that gives this hash, and you attempt to recreate a new one, you will not get the same script. You will not get the same hash because it will be different. So what you can do here is nothing. So if you lose one of the credentials, all you can do from the native script perspective is to just reach out to everyone from your consortium and tell them, be cautious. We lost somebody. We lost these credentials, and we need to be very, very cautious with the rest of them. And
We
maybe
we 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 continue to lose your audio on occasion as well. Not just credentials, but audio.
I'm so sorry. Maybe if I use a push to
Mike,
talk.
Mike, if you go in and tweak on the noise canceling on your mic, I think gonna be good. I think there is some here in
Yeah, I know what's
Discord.
going on. Let me just yep. I'm gonna use something.
You're not hitting the gate.
No, I'm not. Hold on there. I'll fix it.
If you go to voice and video, and down there you will see input sensibility. You can undo that one and do it manually. Then it will be heard all the time.
How's this? Is that okay?
Yeah.
We will know more in time. Continue.
I'm so sorry. Now I can't find my.
Now you're just completely quiet.
No, it's because
No, you're
I didn't talk.
all right. You
Now I
look
was
like
just
you were talking.
now I was just looking for my my camera. I lost it. There it is. Okay. Hi. See you now. Okay.
Hi.
All right. So what was I saying? So yeah, the big flaws. No, it's not really a
Yeah.
flaw. So the big problem of native script is that if you ever lose one of your cold credentials, or if you're one member of your consortium lose one of their cold credentials, you're gonna have to hold on to the rest of them for the rest of your term, because you will not be able to recreate new ones in a new script because they won't have the same hash, and the ledger won't recognize those as your consortium.
So the lesson is just don't freaking lose your cold credentials ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hold on
That's
to
always the
them
lesson.
for
But
their life.
Unless
yeah, there's
unless you use the Credential Manager smart contract that we use. If you do that, you will always be able to rotate the keys that you lost, even the most important ones, for as long as you have the majority of the keys of the same type. You will be able to do that without changing the script hash, because the ownership of your credential is an NFT.
and this is what this is when I jumped ahead earlier and said that people now have to create credentials and NFTs as a part of their council. So yeah, we have reached the point I jumped ahead to.
And a cool thing here, so when most people in crypto here about NFTs. They are thinking about frogs, apes, weird picture, pixelated stuff, on internet. But I think, let's say, for the foreseeable future, the best use case for an NFT is actually something stuff like this. It represents a purpose.
I like that echo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
we are on.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry. There you go. I'm sorry. I
That's
fixed it.
interesting.
It made him
Wow.
saying a purpose more dramatic. A purpose.
Wow.
Ta-da.
Okay, moving on. Yeah, so we have a solution for that. We have the Credential Manager. And the Credential Manager, into the Credential Manager, originally the way that it explained it to me in Longmont was not very friendly. And I'll explain to you the way I understood it when I was there the first time. So you have 5 different roles. You have the membership roles, the delegation roles, the orchestrator, the head of security, and the voting role. The membership role. First, we have to create Cardano keys that we're going to use and that we're going to then have to convert it to OpenSSL keys that we will then use to create certificate signing requests that we will have to send to this guy who is the head of security who holds the certificate authority that will sign these and create X509 certificate that he will send to the orchestrator so that he can mint eventually the NFT. But of course, the delegation role is also part of the cold credential. So they also have to create Cardano keys and then OpenSSL keys and then create certificate keys that they have to send to the head of security who's going to create more certificate and send it back to the orchestrator who will then be able to create a cold NFT and then the update committee in order for people to vote on governance action for the SPOs and the DREPs.
Poor guy.
Again, this is a representation of Mike's first introduction to this in Longmont.
This is how Mike learned it the first time. So you have a better
Poor
version, Mike?
guy.
I'm not done. Well, I'm not able. Well, I don't think I'm allowed to show you the former infographic, but I swear there was those arrows going all over the place.
Oh, I think I saw it.
Yeah, I think you did. Probably.
It was a nightmare of arrows and an actual picture of a guy with like an orchestra baton or whatever they're called. What are they called?
Orchestrator. Yeah.
Director.
Oh, the maestro. Maestro.
The
Yeah,
the stick. There was one of those, and it was all this sweeping imagery, and it was all very confusing.
There we have the sticks. Yeah, orchestrator.
Yes.
Okay.
So now, after it's done, there's the voting role, right? And the voting role also have to create their Cardano keys, convert them into OpenSSL keys in order to be able to do the signing request that they will then send to the head of security, who's going to do even more certificates, send it back to the orchestrator so he can build the transaction to create the hot NFT. But of course, now you have a hot NFT credential, you need to authorize it. And in order to authorize it, you need to create a transaction that's going to have to be signed by the delegation role and then send back to the orchestrator so we can finally submit it on chain. And now they are ready to vote.
Now, what's interesting about
happy.
Was it simple?
Well, I'm so happy that I'm an IT engineer by education, so I actually am able to keep up with all the arrows.
Yeah, exactly. It's a standard.
Like my work life,
right.
So no problem.
Yeah,
this flowchart that I'm used to.
When I first,
it's hilarious if you know the context, which is why it was delivered in such a way, right? Because it is an existing standard of certificate authorities. So it's just a case of going, yeah, we all know and familiar with this standard. But if people are just coming in and have just been elected as a committee, no,
like
don't
myself,
know
Mike Honan.
It's hopeless if you don't know IT and IT thinking and how that works. This is murder. No one is going to keep up with this.
Yeah.
Well, Mike.
Certificate authorities as well. It's all quite interesting because, like, you're doing your own certificate authority management here under this system.
Yeah. So
Mike
Hornan, diesel mechanic, average everyday normal guy, who went to Longmont to learn this. I had a huge struggle. It was hard.
Of course, you had a
And-
huge struggle. Everyone
Yeah,
had
yeah.
a huge struggle. But
Mike-
how do you is this been simplified in any
Yes.
normal
Well,
human way?
that is
There you
Mike's role in this world. He has converted it into a timeline and like the practical examples. So there's also quite a humorous little infographic he's made, which he'll get to later.
So my plan
This
is
is so
to
much easier to understand.
my plan is to start here, and eventually we'll get there. This is my plan. So
It's great.
first we have the user roles. Okay, so I define them into two groups: the user roles and the operational roles. The user roles are the ones that directly are involved on chain, and the operational roles are the ones that are not necessarily part of the organizations, but that somehow have some things to do. They can be hired as a service, for example. So if I start a consortium with you and Ken Eric, and I could hire Johnny Kelly as our orchestrator, even though he is not part of our consortium. I'll show you about it.
Yeah, I'd just
later.
be your lackey. I'd just do all your admin, give you things to sign.
Yeah, he will just be the guy. I like to call it the guy who builds the transaction, because that's pretty much what he does. The orchestrator is the guy
It's
who
pretty
builds
much
the
what I do
transaction.
for my clients right now. I build the transactions for them to sign.
Yeah.
So I would be the kind of person to do that kind of role.
What do we call that in crypto again? Janitor? Yeah, there we go. Blockchain janitor.
Yeah, that's what I call myself. I call myself a tech janitor. The official line is sysops engineer co-management services, but like tech janitor is fine.
Yeah, you need 2 business cards now to just put that name on.
Oh my God. You know, you're giving me infographic ideas about that business cards.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna just do that for. Oh, it's off topic.
constitutional committee janitor.
Orchestrator
I like
and tech janitor,
the
Johnny Kelly. Here's my card.
blockchain janitor. There we go.
Okay, so if we go back to the user roles, right? I said there was 3 user roles. So the way I'm going to show it to you is still, once again, from the cold credential perspective and the hot credential perspective, okay? But they are smart contract, and I'm not gonna get too much into it. There are 3 smart contract involved. They are a minting one, a locking one, and a credential one. But I'm not gonna get there too much. I won't show you any codes. So first, the user roles. On the cold credential side, we have the membership roles, aka the boss. They can resign from the committee, they can rotate membership and delegation keys, and they can unlock the cold NFT and spend it arbitrarily. The reason why I like to call it the boss is because they hold the complete authority over the rest of the credentials. They can rotate the delegation keys, and if they can rotate the delegation keys, then they indirectly have control over everything that's below. I call them the boss also because from a diesel mechanic perspective, when everything goes right, you never heard of them. You never hear of them, you never see them. You do your job, you do your work, everything goes well, and you don't hear about your boss because everything goes perfectly. But if something goes wrong, then you can be sure that he's going to be right on top of your shoulder and say, "Hey, what happened there? What did you do?" Right? We
It
lost.
seems as a diesel mechanic that you've had the luxury of a non-micromanaging boss. I applaud you.
Yeah. So yeah, I brought my boss
You
to
have a whole
Revo
different
last year.
set
So
of work life in Norway, I hear. Because my boss is always there, like cheering me on, and how are you? You're doing great. And
no,
sometimes I hear
yeah.
something bad happens.
And
Totally
years ago in
different.
the UK, years ago in the UK, my boss was always on my back, ringing me my extension, getting me to come down to the office, telling me off, asking me to do things, changing what they required. Very micromanaging. So you're a lucky man, Mike.
It's just an example. I'm super friend with my boss. I brought him to Revo last year. Yeah, he's my former boss, because I technically don't work there for the next year, but that's another topic.
Oh, you took a career break? Yeah.
Um,
I also like the way you see this, because the memberships, from a governance perspective, the members you are, the people that work in governments are serving the members. So the members should be the boss, even though. So it's a good
yes.
analogy.
One of the reasons why I say that is also because if everything goes well, you never have to use those keys. As a matter of fact, the Cardano Atlantic Council, we never signed anything with those keys, ever. Not even an authorization cert, nothing. We only used the hash of the verification key to create the datum of our NFT smart contract. That's it. But we never signed anything with it, ever. They can only be used if we need to rotate keys that has been compromised, or to spend the cold NFT because we built a better script and we need to send the NFT there because the credential is the NFT. But I'll get there soon. And on the cold credential side, we also have the delegation role, aka the authorizer. So what they do, they authorize the hot credentials. So they are the keys that you use to sign the transaction that's going to authorize your hot credentials. They can resign also from their role. They can resign from the country committee. They can rotate the voting keys also. If we have voting keys that has been compromised, they can rotate those keys, and they can unlock the hot NFT and spend it arbitrarily. For example, if we have a new smart contract for the voting, we can do that. We can send the NFT to the other smart contracts. Otherwise, it's just us spending the NFT back to itself, back to its own smart contract. And the voter keys on the hot credential side, they can only vote on governance actions or resign from their role. So if I simplify that a little more, I can say that these guys control these guys, which control these guys, who votes on governance actions. That's as simple as I can make it. Okay, so if I take this, which are the user role, and I shrink it on the bottom left side of the screen, I have the operational role. So they are implicit roles that describe tasks which must be managed by the organization somehow, but the system does not explicitly keep track of them the way it does with the user role. So they are not directly involved into the hot credentials or the cold credentials of the consortium or group or company that represents one CC voice. The head of security, aka the ID manager. So for something that you would understand, Kathy, this guy holds the certificate authority. He holds the OpenSSL certificate authority. That's all he does. So he managed the hierarchy of the consortium, and he manages the ID of each credential that are used within it. So as you know, each membership roles, each holders of keys of the membership roles, delegation roles, and voting roles, they have to create certificate signing request, and they have to send it to the head of security, which hold the certificate authority and the self-signed certificate that represent Cardano Atlantic Council or Tingvard or is it Tingvard or Tingard? I
Yeah, it is.
mispronounced it.
You can look in the screenshot and chat if you want a reference.
I kind of lost. I'm sorry. Screenshot.
Ting, what is
Screenshot
Ting
image.
plus
If you go to the chat
Vard.
of this channel right now, there's a screenshot of the voting outcome in the top right. It's the new constitutional committee, so you can see all of the ones that are currently
Tingvard.
ratified.
Okay, so I had it. That's Tingvard. Okay. But yeah, anyway. So if we openly share those certificates, you can know exactly who signed on what. Because they are derived, the OpenSSL keys that are used to create those certificate requests are derived from the Cardano keys. They are ED25519 keys that have just been converted into its OpenSSL equivalent in order to create those signing requests. So you can make the correlation between the certificate and the keys that has been used on chain to sign for rotating keys, voting, or doing anything on this consortium.
Which is very good for transparency as
Yeah.
a committee council, because I know how everyone voted and can verify that against their individual credentials. And
Well, yes
yeah.
and no. Yes and no. You can only see if they sign the transaction. You can, because technically right, that's important. And I had to mention it during my presentation. The orchestrator can only build one vote. Yes, no, or abstain, because you represent one CC voice. Even though you're a full consortium of people, all they can do is sign or not the transaction. So
Okay, so you can know which of the council members are actually active in the voting process, and
yes,
highlight that people might not be actually doing their role within that council.
yes, exactly. You can verify who signed the transaction. But again, every single consortium have their own personal charter, right? Ours is on GitHub, but I'm not going to go there too much. But each consortium have their
Tangwards
own.
is also on GitHub.
Yeah, so
I think a few others.
each consortium have their own voting rules, their own internal rules. So I don't want to get too much into that, but they might have different thresholds, voting thresholds. For us, the Cardano Atlantic Council, we all sign if we approve the process. We can vote differently, but that's going to be stated in our rationale. So for example, if we have 4 yes and 3 no, 4 yes and 2 no, sorry. 4 yes and 2 no on a governance action, then the outcome is yes, the vote's going to be yes. But in our vote rationale, you will be able to see that we had some dissident votes, and you will also be able to see why they voted against it. And that being said, personally, I would approve the process. So by signing the transaction, we approve the process. It doesn't necessarily mean that we voted on the final outcome. I don't know if I phrased this right.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. So you decided not to vote, or you never did, but you did to say, I'm happy with the outcome of this anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a question. If in that transparently declared listing of who voted what, is there any way for someone outside of the council to verify that that is an accurate and true account of who voted what, and nobody is misrepresenting the vote?
Well, the fact that they all signed would be enough that they all agreed with what's written in the rationale, or else it wouldn't.
Yes, it's in the rationale. It's not a separate document that can be edited later.
No,
I think that's a vital.
Yes, it's part of the standard. So within the standard, you can clearly state who voted constitutional. Well, not who, but how many constitutional and unconstitutional voice you had. Also, who didn't vote or who voted abstain as well. There's some fields for that, but you cannot
Yeah.
know exactly who voted what.
So you can't. Okay. That was
No.
my question.
Yes. We personally, well, from our charter, I can't tell for everybody else, but from our charter at the Cardano Atlantic Council, I can state what my personal vote was, but I cannot tell what someone else's vote was as a matter of respect. They can disclose it. There's no whatever secret. It's just as a matter of respect. Some people might not want to share it. It didn't really happen so far. You can either ask Jenny what she voted on, whatever, and she will tell you. Same for me. It's just a rule to make sure that I don't say openly what Rick or Jenny voted on, just as a matter of respect, right? But if you ask them directly, they will tell you. I'm pretty sure. But again, this is our
Also, it's one of
personal
the main
choice.
principles of a good democracy is to be able to vote in like secret, because that way you can't go directly on a person to lobby for one or the other outcome.
Interestingly, that is a concern about having individual constitutional committee members with just their own cold and hot key credentials. They are the single person that people can lobby.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's also yeah. And I think that's also why it's important that doesn't show who votes what.
Yeah,
No.
we don't have to disclose it. But again, as it is right now, if you don't share the certificate publicly, you cannot know who signed on what, because on chain you only see the hash of the certificate along with the hash of the signing key, of the verification key. I'm sorry. So
Isn't it voter key hash?
the what was that? No, it's for all of them.
Yeah, but can't you see the voter key hash?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can see the voter
So,
key hash. You can see the
but
membership.
you can see the voting key hash, but you don't know who is behind the voting key hash.
No,
Yeah.
as long as the consortium doesn't share their certificate, there's no way for you to know. Because on chain you see the hash of the certificate, you don't see the certificate itself. You see the hash of the certificate, and you see the hash of the verification key. But if we share openly the certificate, then you will be able to make the correlation between the certificate and the keys that sign the transaction.
Yeah.
And I actually we're talking about this, so we might very soon share these certificate publicly. And what's nice about it is that the tooling we have, the explorers that we have, could use that to show to everyone who signed the transaction if they wanted to, as some kind of
Oh,
feature.
that's cool. That's a
Yeah,
nice feature. Yeah.
we could have like
Yeah.
a little key thing on every vote, and it would show like Mike voted, Rick voted. That'd be really nice. Honestly, like if one
Yeah,
of
yeah,
these
because you'd
guys
be
could
able
do
to
that,
verify your council are all active and present, and it's not a black
yeah,
box. So that'd be lovely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
because like technically, there are no way to prove how many people in the consortium that is active, or if we have increased it or reduced it, right?
Well, you can if you
You can.
share the certificate.
Yeah,
No,
with the
no,
share certificate, you can, but
no,
let's
no.
say,
You can know. I can know how many of you guys are, and I can know if you reduced or increased that number. Because each in the datum, each key pairs has its own field. Um,
yeah, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
so if you add more, we will know. If you remove some, we will know as well. But we won't know who is what.
Yeah.
Pretty knowledgeable for a diesel mechanic.
Bonjour. Muy bien.
French diesel mechanics, IT experts. Okay.
I mean, if this is the standard for the mechanics in Canada, I mean, I'm never gonna get a job.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Yeah, we have very, very good networks now in our city bosses. Just saying. Technologies. Okay, let's move on. The orchestrator. The orchestrator, aka the guy who builds the transaction. That's pretty simple, right? So he mints the NFT, initializes the scripts, he builds the transactions, he covers the transaction fees, and he submits the transaction. He's the guy who builds the transactions.
Me.
So his role is to build a transaction based on the instruction that he receives from them, from the consortium or the group or the company. Then he sends them the transaction body file so they can verify its content first and then sign it if they agree with the content of this transaction. Afterwards, they send him their witness data, which he uses to submit the transaction on chain. So as soon as he gets the witness data from all those who are supposed to sign, he can assemble the final transaction and submit it on chain. That is the role of the orchestrator. What about the NFT? So as I said before, oh, what time is it? Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. My kids are, oh man,
Something's wrong.
I'm sorry.
What's wrong?
I had to go
Way
get
past bedtime.
my kids at school. Damn. Hold on, guys.
You have to go pick them up from school, is what I'm getting.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta go.
Early in the morning there, I think.
Can I move
Well,
forward
it's
with this next
probably
time?
He's
morning
muted.
there. Here it's like
Can I move?
late
I'm sorry.
evening. So
I gotta go. But can I move forward with this next time? Is that okay?
Yeah.
sure,
Take notes.
absolutely. No problem.
If
I'm so
anybody wants
sorry.
to stick around and chat, do so. If you don't,
Sure.
don't.
We'll keep
Stick
going
around.
next time. I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem,
Bye
Mike.
bye.
Please stop the recording, Mike.
Yes, I will. And